What's going on? Welcome to Marshall Time, episode 47. What's going on, bro?
What's up, bro? We almost at 50.
50 is a milestone. Like we cannot take that lightly. So I'm excited to see what we've been doing and what we're going to continue to do. Thank you guys for rocking with us so far. 50 and then 75, then 100. We're just gonna keep going. This is a tough show. This is a tough one. We talked a lot. If you listen to the previous episode, this was before Eagles Falcons Monday Night Football. And then we see what happened after that show. The Eagles folded. Kirk Cousins walked them down the field to win on the Monday Night Football stage. And a lot of the conversation that we'll get into when it comes to this, you can take it multiple ways. Who do you blame? The reason why you lost. There's been a lot of conversation of Philadelphia sports fans, this entire NFL fan base, looking back at it. The Saquon drop, was it Sirianni's fault for not kicking the field goal early in the game? The play calling, Vic Fangio's defense, a lot of blame. And we'll talk about other week 2 storylines as well. We're also going to continue our NBA offseason recap, but we got to address the Eagles and Falcons since we talked heavy, and now look, I gotta call the Eagles out. To me, if Saquon Barkley catches the ball is over. The ball game's over, right? Simple as that. I'm more mad at how soft the defense is. How do you allow Kirk Cousins? We had this conversation in the last show. One good leg, not mobile at all. Even before the injury, he couldn't move. He's a statue back there. How do you allow? It's not like the Falcons looked great on Monday night. Like let's just call it what it like. The offense wasn't like killing. Bijan is a beast. But to allow Kirk Cousins no timeouts left in the fourth quarter to walk you down, you were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Just fundamental mistakes that the defense made, especially on that last drive, that is inexcusable. Bryce Huff, $50 million, 0 solo tackles. That's disgusting. No excuse. And he's talking about he has to find his way in the schemes. I'm hearing too much talk about scheme this and scheme that. You schemed your way into a bag, so figure it out. At a certain point, the players got to make plays. I could care less what excuse you have. Kirk Cousins should not be doing that to your defense. You look soft. Outside of Gardner Johnson's big fourth down tackle, that was huge. But outside of that, like the Georgia dudes, where they at? Like what's going on? And so I'm disgusted at the defense, how soft they look. Nick Sirianni, your job is on the line as it should be because two weeks into the season, I'm not impressed after what I saw Monday night. I'm really not. Week 1 was a great win. Saquon, look, he balled out. Week 2, you expect a better performance, and we just didn't get it. And so, yeah, I see a soft football team right now. That's what stands out to me.
Um, my analysis of it is a little different than most fans. For one, I was at the game. I actually was in the game. I was in the crowd. Home opener. It was lit until we lost, but it was lit. Um, our defense. There is a problem with our defense. I'll say our defensive line is a problem.
Hmm.
I'll say that because ever since I've been an Eagles fan, even when I was younger, even if we didn't have the best team, it was always a point of emphasis to have great D line. I look back to when we had Trent Cole and Jason Badman, right? They weren't always there when we had the best seasons, but we had a couple years where we were leading the league in sacks. Guys like Connor Barwin, right? Even when we won the Super Bowl, we had good pass rush, right? Good D line, and we were good at stopping the run. That's the number one problem with the defense is the D line as a whole, and you already touched on that. But to be fair to the defense too, football is the ultimate team sport. Our offense didn't help the defense out at all, right? And this is the first 2 games actually. You look at the first game in Green Bay. I mean, well, in Brazil when we played Green Bay, we start the game with two bad turnovers, right? The defense is backed up in their own territory, and they do what? They hold the Packers to 2 field goals. That keeps us in the game. That game could have easily been 14-0, and we could be 0-2 right now, right? People don't look at it that way, but it's the truth. Same thing with Monday night, right? It was a low scoring game all night. Yeah, the Falcons were driving on us, but we stopped them in the red zone. And I know as football fans, we always want the hard hitting defense. We don't give them nothing, right? But the reality is that's kind of hard to do in today's NFL. And I'm not saying, I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's the reality. Like even those old Patriots teams with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, sometimes they were like bottom of the league and giving up yards, but they were stout in the red zone. So you wouldn't score on them. Right? You're taking 3, and Tom Brady's going to go in back to get you 7. And if we're going to be real, the defense got us the stop we needed. We were up. Falcons went for it in their own territory. CJ made a great play after getting burnt early in the game. He made a great play. You got it in the game. Now we get into the play calling. We should have ran it. I think we should have ran it because that's the risk you run with passing it. But it was a good play call, like as far as design, because Saquon was open and he has to make the catch.
The ball hit his hands.
Yeah, Jalen threw a perfect pass. All he has to do is catch it and get down. Game over. But that's the risk you run with passing. Anytime you pass the ball, anything can happen. Jalen could throw a bad pass. The snap could get fumbled, right? Instead of you handing the ball off, it's a lesser of a chance of something happening, especially the way Saquon was running, right? So me personally, I think we should have ran it. But hindsight is always 2020. Like I said though, the defensive line is a problem. We see the problem with us not having Haason Reddick no more. We definitely see that. I hope that's the way we can get him back, but that just sounds like a fairy tale because we didn't want to pay him. And now it's like, yeah, you should have paid him. You paid Bryce Huff because he was younger, but I'm watching him get manhandled by the Falcons O-line. Like you said, you talk about schemes. It wasn't a scheme problem for him. He was really getting dropped like pancake. He's not even getting back there. The one sack we had came from Milton Williams, and the other pressure we had was from old Brandon Graham, and it got overturned for a penalty. So I just think this football team on both sides is just they're not helping each other out. You got to play complementary football. Like that's the key to winning, right? You got to play complementary football. We're not helping each other out. It's like it was like that last year too. When the offense was hot, the defense was giving up points. When the defense was getting stops, the offense wasn't scoring. And if you ask me, up until the last drive, the Falcons had 15 points. Even without AJ Brown, this offense has too many weapons to not have that game sealed by them. You held the team to 15 points for most of the game. How is that game not sealed when we have Devontae, Saquon, Dallas? We went and got Jahan Dotson. We don't even use him, right? Now, it is week 2. A lot of teams, and we'll touch on that. A lot of teams were upset. This was upset week, right? But this was a golden opportunity for the Eagles to take advantage of that. The Lions lost. The Niners lost. Your division rival Cowboys lost, right? All of the top competition in the NFC lost, except the Buccaneers. They're the only team that was really supposed to be competition in the beginning of the year that won. So you have a clear shot to be 2-0 and get a head start on things, and we didn't do it. So New Orleans is going to be a test, right? We see how they're playing. They look hot, but it's a winnable game if the team plays complementary football, man. They got to help each other out. It's that simple. But the D-line, those guys have to find some heart. They have to get back there. I don't know what we have to do. They just have to dig in from within and get back to Derek Carr. Because Derek Carr, he's looking good, but I know how he gets when pressure gets to him. The Saints fans were just calling for his head before the season started. So I didn't forget. So we're going to see.
If they can't get a pass rush on a quarterback, this team's not going far. That's just about because any quarterback in this league, most of the time, if you give them enough time, they're going to get the job done. Like that's the thing. And the secondary can only defend so long if you're not getting a pass rush on the quarterback. And so if they play around like they did against New Orleans this coming week, they're going to shred you. They're going to shred you. Kubiak has that offense rolling. And so they got to figure it out. And Kellen Moore, this new offense, I was expecting a little more Monday night. I was. I'm not seeing the fluidity of the offense. I'm not just I don't know. Outside of Saquon, I'm just not seeing. I don't know. It still looks rough. It's not looking like I thought it would, changing offensive coordinators. Maybe that's just a transition of learning a new system. We'll see. We'll give him more time. But Jalen Hurts can't make that throw at the end of the game. You have a timeout left. To me, that's a rookie mistake. There's too many times he tries to do too much. He just tried. You're not Patrick Mahomes. There are certain players where I will excuse, like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Outside of that, no. Like, play within yourself. Like, no. What are you thinking with the game on the line? You know your kicker's legit. You got a timeout left, and you decide to just toss it in the air. I don't even know what he was looking at.
He was looking at Smitty. If you were at the game, you would have seen Smitty was open for a second, but
But
Jalen also got hit when he threw it. That
but
threw the
in that
pass off.
in that situational, once again, he's trying to do too much. You got to know
Yeah.
situation and time. The risk. To me, that's like the risk on the third down and passing it to Saquon versus the risk of doing that. It's not even comparable.
Me
Like
personally, I said that he should have scrambled for the first down, got out of bounds, and then we have the extra timeout, and you stop the clock. That was perfect.
anything besides throwing a ball up.
Yeah,
Because at that point, the ball is up in the air. To me, that's 50-50.
yeah.
Unless this dude is really
he got hit.
wide open. It's just, but then that comes with anticipation, right? And you got to anticipate these things, right? Bottom line is Jalen can't make that throw. He just can't. Like, that's a no-no. Live to see another down. Like, at a certain point as a quarterback, there are certain things you just should know. That's my thought on it. Speaking of quarterbacks and young quarterback specifically, Bryce Young, that's major news this week. He was benched. We talked about Bryce Young and the Panthers in our last show and how horrible they've been. And the move doesn't come as a shock. Bryce Young hasn't really done much since last year. And he's benched. Andy Dalton, who's probably pushing 40 at this point, is now the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. I don't think this changes much for the Panthers. They're not a playoff team. For me, I think in a situation like this, there's blame to go around. You blame the organization for not having a stable situation for a young quarterback in Bryce Young. You blame the coaching for not putting Bryce Young in the right situations and helping him learn. And Bryce Young has to take into account his role in this, right? I think a lot of times we criticize these young quarterbacks, but are these coaches, are these organizations doing enough to put them in the right position to succeed? Everybody can't be a CJ Stroud year one ball out. Like that's an outlier, right? We're seeing now a Baker Mayfield, a Geno Smith. We're seeing players who have had to bounce around because it didn't work out their first 2-3 stops, but they get to a spot now where they've learned, they've been able to sit down, they've been able to find the right coach, the right situation, just the right team. They know who they are as quarterbacks and as leaders now. We're seeing what Baker and Geno have been able to do. Baker's playing amazing right now. I thought his career was over as a starting quarterback, but he's doing his thing in Tampa Bay, right? And so I don't think Bryce Young's story is over. I just think Bryce Young wasn't ready, and they put him out there way too soon. He was not built to handle what they expected him to handle. And then the quarterback drafted after him in Houston is doing his thing, right? He's out of here, right? So you compare the two. There's pressure on Bryce Young. There's pressure on the organization to figure out, okay, Bryce is not working out. Let's X him out. Let's find the next young quarterback, right? It's a never revolving situation for Carolina. Okay, let's say the next quarterback, you mess him up too. You're in the same cycle, right? And so too many times we're questioning these quarterbacks, but let's question the coaching of these quarterbacks. Let's question these owners who are really just trying to keep up with what they see across the league when they don't even know what the game is about. They don't know what coaching means and the importance of having a solid foundation and surrounding a young quarterback. I saw it happen to Mac Jones in New England. Like, like, like they pretty much ruined him from his rookie year to his second year. Now he's a backup in Jacksonville, right? So I'm not going to say Bryce Young's career is over. We know better because we're seeing, like I said, Geno and a Baker find their right situations later down in their careers. But I have another point to make, but I'll let you go and share your thoughts. But I think this is the right move for Bryce Young in the franchise, and I think for Bryce, the best move for him would be to get out of Carolina and go to Kansas City because the quarterback whisperer Andy Reid is there. We've seen Andy Reid win with Coy Detmer, AJ Feely. Like for a young quarterback who's struggling, trying to find his way. Carson Wentz is in Kansas City now, right? Like, I think Kansas City is the perfect spot for a young quarterback trying to find his way, trying to learn the game. I think Andy Reid would be perfect for a Bryce Young. Maybe the Rams with McVay, backup Stafford. Like, whatever he does, getting out of Carolina would be the best thing for Bryce Young. I have more things to say about Bryce Young and just young quarterbacks in general coming up. But yeah, I'll just let you share your thoughts too.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, we talked about this last episode, so I mean, it's my my sentiment didn't change. They set him up to fail from the beginning. You know what I mean? And he's taking accountability. Of course, he has accountability for that. But when you really look at it, he's what 5'11", 5'10". He's not the strongest guy.
Hmm.
I mean, in college he was known as a good passer, talented passer. But you got to remember he's playing behind Alabama's O line, who was always have a top O line in the country, and they have great receivers. It's a little different when you get to the NFL playing against other grown men, So yeah, I mean, I think it is it's either they have to bring a new coaching staff in there that can help develop him, and they have to put pieces around him. But I think he just needs a fresh start. I don't know, who knows how his career panned out. Like you talked about Geno Smith, he was wrote off as a bust, and I know I wrote him off as a bust, and he turned out to be a decent quarterback. Same with Baker right now, so he'll get a second chance for sure because quarterbacks are either always getting hurt or teams just give quarterbacks chances. So he'll definitely have another chance. Hopefully he can just learn from this, and hopefully he can get put in the right situation because the talent is there. The talent is definitely there, but I think they just broke him mentally right now. Like he doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing a lot of times um, when it comes to quarterbacks, there's something to be said about facing adversity in college and in high school and in making plays, putting a team on your back, right? So what we see nowadays, these quarterbacks in high school they're playing for factories. You got D1 talent all around you. You didn't have to carry for the most part. Everything is catered to you. The system is catered to you. You go to college, you go to Alabama, you go to a Georgia, name any Power Five major college football program. You're surrounded by talent. You don't have to carry. Like compared to a Mahomes at Texas Tech, a Josh Allen at Wyoming, a Lamar Jackson at Louisville. I think there's something to be said about going through the high school ranks, not playing for the powerhouse national program, not paying for a household college program, right? Having to carry, actually utilize your physical gifts to make others around you better. And I think that's more transferable to the league versus a player coming from a program through high school and college who pretty much didn't face any adversity. Everything was catered to you. You didn't face any roadblocks. So now the first sign of trouble, oh, I don't have the best support system on the field around me. Now I'm crumbling. Mentally, I don't know what to do. I've never faced adversity. Everything's been perfect for me. Now, year one, year two, you got to find yourself because you never faced adversity throughout your athletic career. All you know is success. And so now it may take you 2, 3, 4, 5 years to actually learn the game and grow your skills. And so for me, I think this is Bryce Young right here. Like he's not the most physically gifted. He played at Alabama. They had the best talent on both sides of the ball. Okay, NFL, everybody's faster, everybody's bigger. How do you adjust? Oh, I got to start from day one. I got to carry this franchise. I'm not ready. I got to learn. I got to grow. I got to amplify the skills that I already have to make, you know, to make up for my lack of height, my lack of speed, because it's not the fastest either. So you're short and you're not that athletic. So you got to find a way to amplify the mental part of the quarterback position personally, right? And so for me, when it comes to these young quarterbacks, I want to see it. Did you face adversity in high school? Did you face adversity in college? Did you have to carry an offense? Did you have to carry a team? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can sit back and toss it to these 5-star, 4-star guys in high school and college. But when the pro level, where everybody's even, everybody was an All-American, everybody was the best player in their hometown on their high school team in college. Like Then what? When you're
Right.
not 6'5", when you don't have the speed, when you don't have the strongest arm, then what? You know what I mean? And so that's something I think needs to be discussed more when evaluating these quarterbacks. How do they handle adversity? It's clear Bryce Young's confidence is shot now. This is the first time he's faced it. Like, when's the last time he's had to face like doubts about his skills as a quarterback?
Right.
Never. Like, come on.
And that's
He
always
was
been
a
going on. Like I even think back to like when I was younger, USC was like a powerhouse, right?
mm,
And they always had quarterbacks that were great in college. Matt
mm,
Leinart, Mark
mm,
Sanchez, Matt Barkley, all those type guys, but they weren't that good in the NFL. You know, and same thing with Alabama for that fact. They had quarterbacks that looked good, AJ
mm,
McCarron, Bryce Young, even
mm.
Tua. Like, but you know, we see when they get to the league, it's a little different. So yeah, you hit it right on the nose with that.
So I think that needs to be discussed. But there are outliers, right? Like a CJ Stroud is an outlier. A
Right.
Joe Burrow, who even Joe Burrow wasn't like a well-known name before he got to
He was on
LSU.
the fence.
He
Yeah.
transferred from Ohio State.
Right.
That's adversity right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there are outliers, but when you look at the top quarterbacks, who I think it's Mahomes, Jackson, and Josh Allen, they had to carry their teams in college. Like Josh Allen went to Wyoming. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's a conversation that needs to be had when it talks about these young quarterbacks who have had everything just pretty much succeed from high school to the college level. How do you adjust to things not going your way? And Caleb Williams in Chicago is experiencing this right now. He just has a better talent system. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Chicago has more talent,
Their
so
O line is
it
terrible,
doesn't look as bad.
but their O line is terrible.
The
But
O line is terrible.
with Caleb, you see the potential. Like you see some of the
Yeah,
throws he makes, but he
he's
barely
young.
has time to throw it.
Yeah.
So
So
it's the same thing.
Bryce Young, I don't think his story is over. I think if he lands somewhere where he can really learn the game, really amplify the skills that because he's not like he has some skills that just need to be updated, improved upon, and we'll see. All it takes is one opportunity. Like we mentioned, Geno and Baker, it can happen. So I updated my list of unserious franchises and teams under surveillance. So it's now the Giants. I had the Falcons. I'm still keeping the Falcons on there because we have Kirk Cousins. So I know how the story ends. So whatever. Carolina's was already on there. I added the Cowboys. I said, let me just get this out the way right now. Let me not waste anybody's time because nobody was buying their win against Cleveland. You go to New Orleans, you got Derek Carr doing Michael Jackson dances in the end zone. Get out my face.
That's crazy.
Just get out my face.
I hope, I
You,
hope he's not doing it to us.
and you pay Dak. You pay Dak how much?
Hmm.
Alvin Kamara looked like, whew,
The
he's
four
back.
touchdowns is crazy.
And then I added the Titans too because Will Levis 2 straight weeks is doing like he's just wilding.
Whatever. We out
So
there.
off the strength of Will Levis being your quarterback and doing what he's doing for two straight weeks, unserious franchise. Teams under surveillance. The Bengals are still on there. I got to add the Eagles on there, bro. I just got to do
Well,
it. I just
if our D
when you
line don't
allow
play,
when you allow Kirk Cousins to walk you down like that, I can't. Yeah.
if our
The
D line
Jaguars are on there.
yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, once again, success in high school, success in college. Who are you as a pro? I don't know. The Ravens,
Yeah, big time. That's
I
Lamar
can't
too.
keep. I can't keep. Nah, you can't be 0-2. You can't lose to Gardner Minshew and the Raiders.
At home. They were in Baltimore, right? I think they were in
Yeah,
Baltimore.
yeah. And by the time we do this show, the Jets will be playing the Patriots, but I got the Jets under surveillance. I haven't been impressed. I'm just gonna keep it a buck.
They
I
look all right
haven't.
right now. I'm watching the game.
Well,
They
it's
look.
New England.
Well, yeah, but they're playing. You know, New England has a good defense. They're driving on their
Yeah.
defense. So
I still don't.
everybody looks
I
set right
just
now.
I just don't trust it. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers with an Achilles. With the coming off the Achilles
No,
injury.
I still got faith in him. I know he's a
I
little older,
just
but that his mental and his passing ability ain't go.
and it's just some teams I just can't.
They got
They
a
just got
squad.
that. It's the Jets. I don't know. It's
No,
the
I feel
Jets.
you, but
It's the
I mean,
Jets.
listen, they got the talent. As long as A-Rod, if you was watching the game, you'll see what I'm seeing right now. He looked good. It is New England, but they have a good defense, so we're going to
Under
see.
surveillance. Under surveillance means I'm not really buying it right now. I got
Right.
to see more.
Yeah, I
I
feel it.
just I got to see more. I got to see more. All right. Anything else from week 2 that caught your eyes? Bo Nix is not that guy. What else? Anything
Nah,
else?
just I mean, it was an underdog week, man. And I think this kind of speaks to one, the quarterback play in the league is kind of unserious. Two, teams didn't take preseason. Some teams didn't take preseason serious. I know we did it. I know we did it take preseason serious because the offense didn't play, and we see the effects of it. But the Saints, they were playing their guys, and they put 40 points up in both of their first games. So I mean, that kind of speaks, preseason. Like, yeah, we don't care about who wins, but you still want to see your team execute and get their plays ready. So, um, I just think it's going to be one of those weird seasons for the NFL. Like, and in the end, I know the Chiefs will be in the mix, and the NFC will know the Niners will probably be in the mix. But even they're dealing with injuries, so I don't know. NFC actually going to be kind of weird because if our D line doesn't get right, we're not going to be doing much. The Niners, I'm not a Brock Purdy believer, but he did go to the Super Bowl last year, but they're dealing with injuries. The Lions, they have a good but it's the Lions still. Like, I don't know. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird, but I just think it's gonna be one of those seasons. Like, we'll see though. Shout out J.K. Dobbins too. He's balling. He's balling right now.
Yeah, 2 weeks in, we can always make these like strong. I mean, the Steelers are 2-0.
Right,
When
but they're
no,
not
when
scoring.
have they scored a touchdown yet?
They
Like
scored one.
what's there you go. 2 weeks
Yeah,
in, they scored one touchdown. Like how
yeah.
how long is that going to last, right? So
Not
it's
very
like,
long.
like no. All right. So we took a little break when it came to our NBA summer recap. We finished off the Western Conference. Let's get back to the Eastern Conference now, because training camps are starting up pretty soon, within a week actually. It's crazy. Media days. I know I'll be at the Celtics media day next week, so that'll be cool. So, like as you guys know, if it's your first time listening to our NBA recap, what we do is to go division by division in order of first and last from the previous year. So obviously, Atlantic Division will start off with the Celtics, defending champs. They added Lonnie Walker recently. Sneaky good pickup for them. They drafted Baylor Shireman out of Creighton. Nice little pickup in the late first round. Not a lot of the major losses. O'Shea Brissett, who really wasn't playing that much anyway. So your roster, the usual suspects: Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Derek White, Kristaps
Did Al
Porzingis.
Horford, wait, did he retire or they say he was thinking about it?
Who?
Al Horford, or no? I
Oh no,
think
he's
he's
back.
coming back.
No,
He
he's
coming
back.
back.
He's coming back. Yeah, yeah. He announced that immediately.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, Jaden Springer, Jordan Walsh, Lonnie Walker. So that's Baylor Shireman. So that's like the core pieces, the names that you need to know about the Celtics. Your thoughts?
I mean, defending champs, they're going to have the target on their back, but I think they'll be ready. And I think it's going to be hard to beat them, to be honest. Like, East or West, like, they're the most complete team. They can play D. They have multiple ball handlers, multiple scorers. They're like a modern NBA team. They got shooters, defenders, people that can put the ball on the floor. Um, and they play winning basketball. Like, people can say what they want about, like, Jason Tatum, but he's gotten to that point to where he just wants to win. I see it. We see he just wants to win. He didn't. He didn't have the best finals from a scoring and efficiency standpoint, but he did all the other things to win, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Because in the end, I'm gonna remember who won. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I'm looking at it. So, um, yeah, I don't really have much to say. Like, it's gonna be hard to beat them. Like, because they're only going to have more confidence. Like, I had concerns about their play style with how many threes they get up, but when they play defense at that level, it's kind of like the law of averages is going to work in their favor sometimes. Like, that's just how it looks. So the biggest thing for them is just going to be health, right? Like, that's all I can really say, to be honest.
Yeah, Porzingis had surgery because of that leg injury he had during the finals, so he'll be out the first few months. But the important thing is they have him for the playoff stretch, right? So listen, defending champs having that was sort of like a huge like burden on that team because you got to understand the journey that the two Jays specifically have had, and even the team with Al Horford. Like they have previous to last year, they went through the grind of these playoff experiences. You lose to the Warriors in the finals a couple of years ago, and then you know against Miami, everybody thought it would be Denver and Boston last year. Um, but to not, take down Miami and to make that trip to the finals like what was expected was a major letdown. And so this past season was huge just for them mentally to break through that wall. And having that experience, Joe Mazzulla as a coach as well, like there were a lot of question marks about him to sort of have that monkey off his back. I think they're going to be motivated. I think they're going to be hungry to say we can do this again from the head coach down. And when you have that chemistry as well, that's a huge, huge component when it comes to championship teams. That chemistry is important. You just can't put these big names together and expect it to just work. And so these guys have been through it. Adding a Drew Holiday, adding a Derek White along the way has been so crucial. Porzingis was huge. And so they're still the team to beat for me right now. Now we head to the Knicks, the Nova Knicks. They lost Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, Isaiah Hartenstein, Shake Milton, Sixers legend, salute. But they added our guy, Mikal Bridges, Cam Payne, and an exciting rookie, Tyler Kohler. He got his game off in the Summer League. I'm excited. Hopefully he gets some run this year. So you're looking at Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, Precious Achua, Miles McBride, Cam Payne, and Tyler Kolek. How you feeling about those Nova Knicks?
My boys, man, Nova. This gonna be this a legit team. They're one of the teams that I can actually see beating the Celtics, like giving them a run for their money. My only concern is just how is Julius Randle gonna be with. They have kind of a stacked lineup now. Like I know Mikal's not a scorer, but he can score. He's going to one hit shots from time to time. Same with OG. Well, he's a 3-and-D guy. But Julius, like with the team that they have, they just need to play smart basketball. And my gripe with Julius Randle is he doesn't always play smart basketball. I know he can get to a bucket, right? But it doesn't always look the best. When he's hot, he's hot. He's one of the best scorers in the league when he's hot. But when he's off, it's hard to watch. Like so, I don't know. I mean, I love the moves they made. They made great moves, obviously. And the thing is, they're going to have that chemistry. They're going to love playing for each other. You already know they're going to give 110% just off of who their coach is. But now they're playing for each other. They're playing with their friends. Like that adds a whole new element. So they're going to be playing with a lot of pride, a lot of effort. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's one of the best players in the league. Like he's a certified bucket and is a leader. So and he's just cold blooded, man. So we seen what he did in the playoffs. Ever since he had to back up Luka on the Mavericks, like we seen what he's done in the playoffs, right? He's battle tested. So it's going to be fun to watch, definitely. I want to see what happens with Julius Randle, how he plays. Like, is he going to say, you know what, let me focus on rebound and playing defense and getting my buckets in better spots instead of having to force it so much? That's my only concern with them.
Yeah, I like it. Like obviously Julius and how he fits within what they have going on. To me, Julius has to be the third option behind Jalen and Mikal. That's how I see it. Just offensively, Jalen and Mikal are just more dynamic for me, in my opinion. What they can do with handling the ball, attacking, just creating for others, and I just think Julius should fall into place in that third option offensively. But what I love about this roster and Mikal coming in now, guys who are playing above their roles can actually get back in place. Like Josh Hart and Dante, they were playing above and beyond than what they should be playing. And so now Mikal Bridges is in there. That scoring load that Josh Hart and Dante and even an OG had to make sometimes, Mikal can get his offense off. And so adding that element to it, I think these guys can get back into their perfect roles. Also, Mitchell Robinson being back, what he might bring to the table offensively, having Josh Hart and Dante as your role players and OG Anunoby, like just the toughness that's there defensively. Nah, I don't have too much to say when it comes to this Knicks team. I think it comes down to health for them. Can those guys be healthy? Because we know OG wasn't right. Jalen was dealing with some injuries. Julius Randle, obviously, Mitchell Robinson. So I think if this team can stay healthy, the chemistry is there, the toughness is there, the experience is there, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be very dangerous. And their style of play is going to give teams fits anyway. So, yeah. Then we come to the Sixers, who I feel like it's like a whole different team. Honestly, when you look at it, Tobias Harris is no longer on the team. So let's just take a moment to just appreciate that, Sixers fans. That's Detroit's problem now. Nicholas Batum is gone, Mo Bamba, Buddy Hield, Robert Covington, DeAnthony Melton, Cam Payne, and Paul Reed. The big addition, Paul George. We'll talk about that. Caleb Martin, Andre Drummond is back. Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson. Drafted Jared McCain and Adem Bona in this year's past draft. And then we picked up Gershan Yabusele. He was the one of the stars on the French team in the Olympics. And obviously, this group comes back with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Lowry, KJ Martin, Ricky Council, and Jeff Doughton, who I'm a huge fan of. Can the 76ers get out the second round this year? That's the big question. That's all I care about. I don't care about no hype, no off-season hype. I don't want to see any off-season workout videos. I don't care about any training camp videos. Can you get past the second round? Are you mentally strong enough? Are you physically able to make the plays in the clutch moments when it happens? I'm pointing this all at one player. Ben Simmons isn't here anymore. Doc Rivers isn't here anymore. Tobias Harris isn't here anymore. It's one guy who, through all these second round flameouts, has remained the same. And that's Joel Embiid. That's all. That's my only question. If he's healthy, that's the number one concern. Is he going to be in shape? Is he going to be mentally locked in, or is he going to just cry when he's not having his way? Is he going to flop? Is he not going to get back on defense because he's complaining to a ref about not getting a call that you're fishing for, instead of actually being a ball player and attacking and just mentally not checking out and being off your game? That's it. I'm not looking at Tyrese Maxey because we know what Reese is going to do. He's a young player still growing and developing. Paul George is Paul George. Right? Like, he's not going to carry a team to a championship. But Joel Embiid, at this point, this is it. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Like, I don't. My patience with this team is here. I'm done. You got it.
Yeah, they've. I don't. I have no like. I'll say this: Daryl Morey did the best he could for this offseason. Like, he made good moves. Of course, I like the PG signing. I like Jared McCain. I like the drafting of Jared McCain. Even I like getting Boma, right. But that's what it really comes down to. Embiid, like you said, I've given him, in the past, I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt because I know he gets hurt a lot, right? I know that he started playing basketball at a relatively late age, and he's just naturally gifted at it. But now you're getting older, bro. This is the best roster that we've had, and I tell people all this. We say this every year about the Sixers, but that's the reality. They always improve the roster, but the thing is, Embiid is either hurt or he's just not playing to expectation. Especially in the fourth. Like, how many times did I have to see him get strapped by Al Horford? Even in this Knicks series, he had games where he was looking like bad out there, and I seen Maxey carried a little more than him at times. You know what I mean? So the roster on paper is good enough to compete with the Knicks and Celtics. It is. Like, you have Maxey, right? You got PG and Embiid. Like, Embiid, when he's the most dominant out of all the players that we're talking about in the East, right? But he has to tap into that. It's cool you can get 50, 60, 70 in the regular season, but in the playoffs, when am I going to get a series where you're averaging 35 and 12 with 3 blocks? Like, your presence is just felt down there. Not you shooting threes, not you fading back. I want to see you dominate. Like, I need to see him really kill. Like, when am I going to see that, right? Because if he does that, this team has the complementary pieces to take everything else over the top. It really comes down to him. So is he going to step up to the plate? That's to be determined. We'll see. Like I say, he's older now. Hopefully he's wiser, more mature. Hopefully Nick Nurse can, just continue to tap in with him and just help him with a better vision, man. Just help him play winning basketball. Like, that's what it comes down to. We know he's an all-world talent, but he has to play winning basketball. You have all the talent in the world, but if you're not playing winning basketball, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I like the makeup of this team. Like, I like Paul George. I like Caleb Martin. Like, Andre Drummond's a good pickup. Just to play your role. Like, I love Jeff Doughton and Ricky Council, what they showed in the summer league. Can they keep that going during the real season? Kelly Oubre, we know what Kelly was about last year. Like, that was an exciting pickup. I'm happy that he's back. Therese Maxey's probably reportedly, you might have seen videos and pics. He's been in the weight room going crazy. But it's been hard to get excited because, like you said, each year the team makes moves. Daryl Morey's doing the best that he can do, right? What else? What other move was he going to do besides getting a Steph Curry? Getting like what else is he going to do? Like Paul George was the best, and he did it, right? And so, but I think for Sixers fans, and most can attest to this, we're tired of the winning that. We don't want to win the off season, right? Like that doesn't matter. At a certain point, you got to get past the second round, bro. Like, so with this, I was the same way last year. I don't care about the regular season when it comes. I really don't. Because I know when that second round comes, there'll be a lot of nervous people. And so until they get over that dark cloud, this team has to show me. So on paper, yes, one of the best teams in the NBA. Can they compete for a championship just off the paper? Yes. But the game isn't played on the paper. It's played actually on the court. And too many times I've seen this team fold in the second round. Different head coaches, different supporting casts. It's the same thing. Meanwhile, I see the Celtics win a championship. They're still a better team than you. And the Knicks just beat you. They're a better team. So what are we talking about? That's all. And I think I'm being reasonable, just not only as a fan, but just as an observer. Like, if a team keeps losing in the second round, what am I supposed to say to that? At a certain point, either you're going to do it or you got to close the chapter on this era. They got to have that conversation. If you lose in the second round again this season, what are we talking about? That's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at. We go to the Nets. This is nasty. Their roster is pretty bad. I didn't even realize it was this bad. They lost Mikal Bridges, Dennis Smith, Lonnie Walker. They added Shake Milton, Zaire Williams, Bojan Bogdanovic. So you're looking at a roster of Dennis Schroeder. First of all, who do you think their best player is? The Nets.
Cam Thomas is what I was.
Yeah. Cam Thomas is probably he's probably so excited because he can just rock out. Who's gonna take shots? We know it ain't Ben Simmons.
Right.
Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, Jalen Wilson, Day'Ron Sharpe, Noah Clowney, Keon Johnson. For most casual NBA fans, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Sounds like a G League team.
I mean, it's gonna look like a G League team. Do they have because I saw one of those NBA Twitter accounts. Do they have Killian Hayes too? Because
I don't know.
they posted a Killian Hayes workout video. I think he was wearing a Nets practice jersey.
They also, one of them fake accounts said that Ben Simmons got traded to the Warriors. I don't know if you saw that.
It was NBA. Yeah, it was Killian Hayes.
He is on the Nets.
He's on the Nets.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know. This might be the worst, talent-wise, probably the worst team in the league.
Yeah. Because even the Pistons, I could say they have Cade.
They got talent.
But I mean,
they have talent. They're just not being used right.
Right.
There's nothing here. Dennis Schroeder can probably get traded to a contender. Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. They got a few guys who some playoff teams will probably call Brooklyn up like, look, you probably want Cooper Flag. They're on the Cooper Flag, like, let's just call it what it is, right? Like you're focused on, and then the next year, AJ, like, yeah, the next 2 years you could probably build your team up, but right now, it's disgusting. So I don't have much to say about the Nets. It's just bad.
Yeah, I know. That's the reality.
I'm not going to dignify it.
If you just like watching people get buckets, tune into
Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas play, watch some highlights. That's what you'll be watching from the Nets this year. Have fun.
I'm not even going to dignify a Benjamin Simmons conversation. So
they said he went to the Warriors. That was the fake news on Twitter of the day, and they're back with the workout videos.
Oh, it's that time of year. Yeah. That time of year.
The schedule is in full effect.
We here. All right. Then the fact that the Raptors finished in last place is crazy. They They lost Jalen McDaniels, Gary Trent, who's with the Bucks, by the way, really good pickup, and Jordan Nora. They added Davion Mitchell, Bruno Fernando, Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shedd, and Jonathan Mogbo in the draft. Coming back, Emmanuel Quickly, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Jacob Pirtle, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji, and Chris Boucher. The Raptors confuse me because I don't think they have a true, like, Scotty Barnes just signed a 5-year extension worth over $200 million. So contract wise, image wise, when it comes to that team, he's the franchise player. I say that with quotes. I wouldn't trust Scotty Barnes to be my franchise player. I have different reasons for that. I just don't trust it though. Something's off with
No,
that.
I think he's just not that transcendent of a talent to
Yeah.
be your number one player. He's a good player. I like Scotty
Yeah.
Barnes. I like his game, but he's not like he's like he's a good player, right? He's all star capable. So capable of being. I think he might have made one all star team before. I'm not
Maybe.
sure, but I mean, you look at his game. He does a little bit of everything, but he's not
Mm.
like a transcendent talent. He's not somebody that's in a playoff series. Like you think about it, we just watched Boncaro, who was better than Scotty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just go with it in the with a decent team. He went against the Cavs, but they didn't win.
Yep.
Right. And he's better than Scotty Barnes. So we're looking at a guy like that who is he's a really good player. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't even be sure if he's a number one talent. So why am I going
Right.
to put that on Scotty Barnes? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think he's a really good player, but
Yeah.
and that's not to say they can't win with him. They would just need a transcendent talent, I think. And
Yeah.
the thing about the Raptors, they're always good at finding talent. Like those names you read off, it's a lot of talent on that roster, but none of it is like, yeah, we're really about to make a run, and they know that. You know what I mean? But they're gonna, it's gonna be one of those teams that'll play hard. If they were smart, they would be trying to go get in the Cooper Flag and AJ sweepstakes because they get one of them with the team they have now, then we're talking. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a team like I don't know what their direction is. Like what's the point of compiling all this talent if
yeah.
there's no direction? Because you're just wasting away then. Like at that point, like what do we can't even make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, so what are we doing here? Like we're just existing. We're competing. We may have big wins here and there. Like Emmanuel Quigley is a really good player. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, like these are really solid, good young players. All those names I mentioned, are we putting them next to a Jason Tatum, a Jalen Brown, a Tyrese Maxey, a Tyrese Halliburton, a Jalen Brunson, a Giannis, Apollo, Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young? I'm just naming names in the Eastern Conference that are just popping up. Like, so to me, Toronto has to figure out, like, what's the direction? Like, where are we going? Are we competing for a playoff spot, or are we competing for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes? Because if you're in between, you're going to be back where you were last year, next year. Like, you're just going to be in the same, trying to figure it out. And so, if you're a team that's not going to attract top free agents, your best plan of action, of course, is to build through the draft. Well, you got to figure out, okay, if I'm winning, if I'm trying to win, then I'm not trying to build through the draft then. So what are we doing? They got to figure it out because Scotty Barnes, to me, at best is the number two. I think he's perfect as a number three option, personally. Like, if Jalen Brown is a number two, most would consider on the Celtics. Jalen Brown is to me, he's just a better player than Scotty Barnes.
for sure.
Jamal Murray in Denver. Like, there's just look at the number twos across the league on playoff teams. They clear Scotty Barnes. You're trying to have him as your number one guy. And I kind of question, I wonder if Toronto knows that, if they've come to that realization. I don't know yet. Because if they're trying to hitch their wagon, their hopes onto Scotty Barnes, then they're going to waste the next 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? So Toronto has to figure it out. So next week we'll tackle another division. We got, man, a few more weeks and we'll be talking NBA regular season. Like, it's crazy to think about, but I'm excited to see these teams actually get to action. We'll give our preseason predictions when it comes to MVP, Rookie of the Year, finals, all that fun stuff as the season gets closer. Obviously, week 3 of the NFL season has already begun by the time you hear this. The Jets and Pats are currently playing right now as we record. But yeah, so much more to talk about. Don't forget Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share us on social media, share us with your friends, your group chats. And we'll talk to y'all next time.
All right, peace out.
All right, bet.
Did it stop on yours?
Yeah, I just stopped.